All right, Algebra 3-2, rate of change and slope. Your rate of change and slope, the same thing. Okay, we use them interchangeably. So we're going to find our rate of change or our slope. All right, slope, m equals the change in y over the change of x. All right, and sometimes you will see it looking like this. Your triangles mean delta, which is the change of. All right, now a couple things to remember. You want to keep the x and the y of the points lined up. All right, they must be one on top of the other. So don't scramble your numbers. Okay, make sure they stay together. All right, so when I do this, I do my m equals, I do my fraction bar, and then I put my minus in here because that is the equation. We are minusing both the top and the bottom. And I don't want to confuse the minus sign with the negative in front of some numbers. So I always put them in automatically. So we have somebody who is working and earning money, and we are going to find the rate of change. So x, y, this is the x of my first point and the y of my first point, x of the second point, y of the second point. y2 always leads off, so that's 93. Its x stays attached below. y1 is 62, and its x stays attached below. 93 minus 62 is 31. 12 minus 8 is 4. So, their rate of change. They make $31 over 4 hours of time. Okay? Leave it. Just like that. As an improper fraction. Yes, please just leave it just like that. All right. And when you're given a table, a lot of times you're given a number of things in that table. So you just have to pick 2. Okay? This one only had 2, but you just have to pick 2. All right? And make it your x1, y1, your x2, y2. Just pick 2. Now, comparing rates of change. So the rate of change, find the rate of change between 10 and noon. And then describe. Describe means words. All right, so this is the city temperature at various times on a given day. Okay, today's weather. Time since midnight is my x-axis, it's in hours, and my y-axis is temperature in Fahrenheit. Always read the labels of your x and your y-axis and the label of your graph. They're important information, and when you are describing your answer, you use the words that are in your labels. So 10 is here, and 12 is there. All right, we always read from left to right, so our first point is the 10, so 10, 60, xy, okay, that's my x1, y1, and then my second point, 12, 65, x2, y2. All right, same formula. y2, 65, 12, 60, 10. 65 minus 60 is 5. 12 minus 10 is 2. So your slope is 5 halves. And well, what does that mean? It's the change of y over the change of x. So your y is temperatures. So your temperature, well, this is a positive, so it goes up 5 degrees. We're talking about Fahrenheit, so we're talking about degrees. We have the fraction bar, and that means over. So the temp goes up 5 degrees over 2 hours. simply using the labels you have. All right? Now, same with change of y over change of x. Now, we've done linear versus nonlinear before. We've actually seen this before. We've talked about it. So what we do is we go down our x and we see how it changes. We go down our y, see how it changes. And then we're going to do the change of the y over the change of the x and see if it's the same all the way down. We need to have the same slope all the way down. So to get from 1 to 2, we add 1. From 2 to 3, we add 1. 3 to 4, we add 1. And from 4 to 5, we add 1. Okay? All of them the same. Y. Get from negative 4 to negative 2, you are going to add 2. From 2 to 0, add 2. 0 to 2, add 2. 2 to 4, add 2. Now we're going to figure out our slopes. So change of y over the change of x. That equals 2. Change of y over the change of x. That equals 2. Change of y over the change of x. That's 2. Change of y over the change of x. That's 2. All of your slopes are the same. So this is linear. And if it is linear, then you should be able to tell me what the slope is. And m equals 2. All right. We're going to do that with this one here with b. So to get from 4/10 to 1 6/10, you add 1.2. To get from 1 6/10 to 2 8/10, you add 1.2. To get from 2 8/10 to 4.0, you add 1.2. To get from 1.0 to 5.2, you add 1.2. Now to get from 3 to negative 3, you subtract 6. To get from 3 to negative 9, you subtract 6. Be careful of this next one. To get from negative 9 to negative 17, you subtract 7. Now to get from negative 16 to negative 22, you again subtract 6. All right, so again, change of y over change of x. Change of y over change of x. That equals negative 5. Change of y over change of x. Again, equals negative 5. Here's where we have our problem. Change of y over change of x. That equals negative 5.833. Repeat bar. That's not the same. Okay, so as soon as we hit the not the same slope, this is not the same. And why is because the slope, well, the slope is not the same, so it is nonlinear. Ooh, nonlinear. That is the word I was actually looking for. It is nonlinear because the slope is not the same. I just wrote that completely backwards, and that is okay. All right, so we are nonlinear, and it's because the slope is not the same. All right. Now we're going to take this equation, all right, and we're going to bring back our skill of cross multiplication. So remember, m equals the change of y over the change of x. All right, so it wants us to find the value of r so that the line passes through this point and that point. Oh, there's my r. And the slope, which is m, negative 4. All right, so we have x1, y1, we have x2, y2, and we know our m. Let's fill this in. Well, we know m, it's negative 4. My y2 is 5. Its x is r. y1 is negative 3. Oops, I'm going to put that in parentheses, because negative 3 and that subtraction sign, they are not the same sign, so we need to put that in parentheses. and then 10. All right. So our cross multiplication. So I'm going to put that negative 4 over 1. So we can cross multiply. All right, so a negative times a negative is a positive. So this blue side is 5 plus 3 equals. Now what we're doing is minus 4 times r minus 10. All right, this cross multiplication. So minus 4 times r is minus 4r. Minus 4 times minus 10 is plus 40. So all we did was distribute that negative 4 to both of these terms. All right. So on my left, I have like terms. 5 plus 3 is 8. All right, now I can isolate my r. I'm going to subtract 40 from both sides. Negative 4r equals negative 32. Last step is divide by negative 4. And r equals 8. Alright, now we are going to use same equation. Have we changed equations? No. We are finding m, which is the change of y over the change of x. We've actually done this in bell work. It was just very unsuccessful. This is the lesson that goes behind it, so hopefully it will get better. Okay, remember, change of y over change of x, 2 points. So let's flip this over. I'm going to rewrite my equation over here. I keep rewriting this equation. Guess what? This is really important in your life, and you really need to learn how to do it, because finding slope is the key to so many things in algebra. Alright, so we're going to label this x1, y1, x2, y2. I set up my background math. Alright, y2 is 7, 1 is attached. y1 is 4, negative 3 is attached and goes in parentheses. 7 minus 4 is 3. Negative times a negative is a positive. 1 plus 3 is 4. Your slope is 3/4. We're going to do that again. x1, y1, x2, y2. Set up your background math. 1 is y2, 4 stays attached below. 3 is y1, negative 1 goes in parentheses, stays attached. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative times a negative is a positive, so 4 plus 1 is 5. Negative 2/5. Alright, these next two show a pattern. Alright, they show a pattern, and if you see the pattern, then you actually don't have to show your work. Everything else you do need to show your work. I gave you a formula. I've rewritten the formula several times. We've used the formula a number of times on the front and on the back. Okay, so I want to show you something with these next two. x1, y1, x2, y2. Background math. y2 is negative 5. Its x stays below. Negative 5 goes in parentheses. Negative 2 goes below in parentheses. Alright, negative times a negative is a positive. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. Negative times a negative is a positive. 4 plus 2 is 6. I want you to make note. Your 0 is on top. The 0 location is important. When your 0 is on top, your slope is 0. Alright, these are your horizontal lines. This is where y equals -5 equations come in. Alright, now let's check this one out. x1, y1, x2, y2, set down your background information. y2 is -2, -3 stays attached below, 4. -3 goes in parentheses. -2 minus 4 more is -6. Negative times a negative is a positive. -3 plus 3 is 0. Now your 0 is on bottom, and that's bad. Because you can't have multiple parts of nothing. So when you have a 0 on the bottom, 1, that's irrational, and some of you remembered that in class. And your slope is undefined. Okay? These are your vertical lines. These are your vertical lines. And the equation for this one would be x equals -3. Alright, so when you see the pattern of your y's are the same, then m equals 0. Okay? When your x's are the same, your m is undefined. So when you have a pattern with math is a lot of patterns, you don't have to show the work. But that is to prove why, okay? Why m is 0 and why m is undefined. Alright, so get your assignment done. This is a very, very short unit, so we're actually already halfway done with this unit. We have 2 more things, and some point soon we will be taking our test. Good luck.